A decently brutal not alive scene has taken place last night in this Pokemon home, which is fine because Charmander was always the best one. I've been a pretty large defender of Pokemon in the past, and a lot of it has been due to nostalgia and bias, but how could it not be? I had the Pokedex, I had plushies. According to my mom, Yu-Gi-Oh was Satan, so I had Pokemon cards instead.
That being said, I only fully delved in around Gen 6, which is the worst one. That is, until this one.
Yeah, I think Scarlet Violet are the worst games in franchise history. Obviously there's context to it, and the #1 offender is the Pokeguy home integration. It's not good.
To get an idea of what I'm getting at, let's back on up to Gen 2, where you were able to trade compatible Pokemon from Red and Blue to Gold and Silver if you met certain conditions that were mostly... Yeah, preserving Pokemon is cool. That's all I have to say on that. I lied. Fast forward to Gen 3 and there's a bit of an issue. Well, fans figured it out 20 years later because what the fuck? You just couldn't keep your Pokemon you caught on your Game Boy Color. There was just no way, the cables don't fit. But then, Gen 4 came around and you could bring forward Pokemon 100%. Gen 5 you could do the same. And while in Gen 6, the next console leap required a paid service, you could do the same.
And then Gen 7 came out. I like Gen 7, it's good, you guys are just little babies. And thanks to the ability to transfer from Gens 1 and 2 thanks to the Virtual Console, well, this is just bonkers mode. This is good. Everyone's happy. It felt like there was a long-term reward for being invested in the series, no matter how small it was. Really, Pokemans were the original NFTs if you think about it. They had functions, they interfaced with future games, they had no value, the monkeys were really cool. Really, all that could ruin it is if it crippled new players. You wouldn't have a chance if you didn't have the cool guy from 50 years ago. And honestly, it was kinda like that at one point.
During an important tournament in Gen 5, some players used a Magmar from previous generations that had Follow Me, which it could only learn from Pokemon XD, and they used this to gain an edge. Now, I'm not saying this is slimy or unfair because it absolutely wasn't. By that point, any Pokemon that species wasn't explicitly banned in Gen 5 was absolutely fair game. However, when you think about it, it's kinda lame in an official tournament, right? Not only do you have to buy a DS and the video game you're competing in, you also have to buy 3 other games, 2 other consoles, and an accessory that's just unrelated to the task at hand. And you have to do it all just to get this guy? In a world where money's an object, that's fucking stupid.
I am willfully ignoring an important statistic when I talk about competitive play though, which is statistically, you do not give a shit. And Game Freak came up with the perfect solution to this 10 years ago, and I genuinely mean that. You get a mark if a Pokemon is generated in Kalos saying it's okay for competitive play. Kinda think of it as like a social security number. Oh, you're American? Yes, sir. Yes, I love the troops. However, there was a deep, demonic, growing number of people that didn't care about the mark. It was most people. Here's my social security number. So as much as Gen 6 sucks and is bad, let's be real, sales numbers in this series do not correlate with quality at all. They just care about how sick nasty Charizard is. Oh wow, Charizard-kun, you're so sick nasty in this particular installment. I just had a fucking tilde in the script and I didn't know what to do with it, so...
Then Sword Shield happens. fuck Pokemon Bank. We're making this house a home and killing some residents. The culling of moves and Pokemon alike came as a huge shock to everyone, and yeah, it wasn't needed at all, especially since just 2 generations prior, you essentially invested in a permanent future with these 3D models you still use. While mechanics and systems being dropped wasn't foreign to previous generations, now nothing was safe.
It's like creating an entire system that could ensure workers safe futures, but absolutely making it insecure as fuck. Legends Arceus gave me hope. It was goofy, unbalanced fun with a totally different balance system. It wasn't great, but if you were a Pokemon fan, it honestly kind of was. The prospect of taking new Pokemon from that game that's radically different into a more standard version was exciting. I don't have that hope anymore, and frankly I don't think they're working on Hey You Pikachu anytime soon, so this is kind of just throw it away.
I never got close to finishing Scarlet Violet. They're just bad games. Now with Pokemon Home integration finally being released, it's finally revealed that there's no point to Pokemon Home anymore. Any moves that the Pokemon can't already learn in the sanitized world of Scarlet Violet are just completely wiped. And I don't mean just moves that don't exist in the game, like hey, hidden power, understandable. I mean, hey Dragonite, that's a really cool rare heal bell move you have. Unfortunately, we're the worst people yet conceived.
Oh, you can swap your Pokemon's ability to any other ability. You can modify their base stats to values unforeseen by God himself. I don't care. This is all just garbage for competitive players that, well, good for them. We outvote them 1,000 to 1, and their candidate is a real piece of shit anyways. My point is, making a game more accessible competitively while culling features that a compromise existed for 10 years prior. What are you doing? What's the point in having these rare Pokemon and rare moves if they're just homogenized and sterilized immediately upon entering the world of, I don't know, I didn't finish it? Not only that, there's some Pokemon that just follow the rules, model students. I'll fucking kill them anyways. Well, it's silly that this is my last straw. It's mine. What I like has been taken away from me. And yes, Pokemon has sucked for years, but to go back to the NFT metaphor, I got rugged and everybody's laughing at me. I just don't see the point in why I play the series anymore. It's just gone. Anyway, see you in Gen 10 because I'm a silly, sick little bitch.